Welcome to the Life Leader Podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Celeste, and I'm here for you, a heart-led entrepreneur, a life leader that wants to create a better world through your gifts. And enjoy your life while you are doing it. Lovely to have you here. Hello. In this episode, we will meet Emma Dinmali Fredhamn. That is an amazing alternative therapist. And yes, we're gonna have such a lovely high vibe discussion that can really give you that extra boost that you might need as an entrepreneur. And we're gonna dive into the topic of everything about how you can take care of your inner child when you step up in your business, because it's that inner part of us can feel very scared sometimes, right? And also how we can recognize the value of our uniqueness, our own frequency. Even when we offer exactly the same product or service as someone else. And we're going to talk about how we can overcome imposter syndrome. We don't maybe mention that word, but you will see how you can overcome this not good enough feeling. And to be your best cheerleader, and how to integrate joy and humor and playfulness and pleasure into your work, your day as an entrepreneur, to support your higher vibration so that you can serve from that best space within you. So I'm so looking forward to really invite you into this lovely call. So enjoy. So lovely to have you here on my podcast in this episode. And I have a feeling that we're gonna have a very interesting talk, because we always have when you and I meet, because we have known each other quite many years now. Mm-hmm. So, and you are doing so much amazing things. That's why I wanted to bring you here on this podcast. So if we start there, what amazing things are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, who are you and what are you doing as if we now thinking of your entrepreneurial journey? And
So my feeling is that I just want to be in service, and what I feel called to do is to help people with therapy, alternative therapies, because I needed it so much myself. I was really suffering in my life before, even as a child, and with the emotions I had, and not having my needs met and all that, and to find the tools that actually helped. It was not so obvious what will actually help me to feel good about being alive. And I found really good tools for that, like EFT, emotional freedom technique, where you do tapping on meridian points to calm the nervous system and free yourselves from difficult memories and thoughts and feelings. That is such a good tool that I use most often with clients. And I also do family constellations. And also TRE, trauma, tension and trauma release exercises. Also really good work to release stress from the system.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
With those tools, I like to support people to feel better about themselves and to go for what they really long for.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm just thinking in this field also, I guess, you know, as a spiritual entrepreneur, we actually bring something, we bring that aspect as well into our work. And I guess so many have gone to, you know, how to say, the normal therapist and the psychologists and so on. And what would you say that, what are you, in what you are doing, what are you bringing in that can't really, are not really existing in that, let's just say, this normal therapist field and so on?
So for myself, when I went to therapy where you were talking about what happened in your life, it gave me insights about how things work and what had happened to me. But it also was pretty awful many times when I talked about what happened to me, because it re-traumatized me in a way, because I had to re-experience things just talking about it. So when we do, for example, the work with the tapping, we can do tapping on meridian points at the same time as we talk about what happened. And then the fight and flight system calms down so that the stress can disappear little by little from whatever that memory or happening was. And so it's more help for the nervous system and for the tensions in the body, like the TRE, where you actually shake out tensions from the nervous systems and the muscles that has been loaded with stress and not being released after like an overwhelming thing happened. So just talking about what happened actually brings that tension up in you, and that we all sort of in our lives, things happen in our childhood, we get stressed and there's nobody there to comfort us, and then we just walk on as if life goes on, but the stress is still there inside of us. So how can we release that bit by bit, the old stress, so that we can be free inside and move on, really free, not just mentally understanding things. So this was what I was longing for, not just mentally understand things, but just release myself to be able to breathe deeply again and feel more alive.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I think this is so important to really remember for all of us that works more alternative, that we bring in these kind of aspects. We that are the entrepreneurs that actually bring this, that works more than the mental level. Yeah. And I find, because I also bring in the tools of EFT in with clients, but then of course I use it with myself, like, you know, just not every day, but yeah, so often. Like today I used it for several things that I was like, wow, okay, here's something. how do you feel that, you know, your own tools are supporting you in your own entrepreneurial journey and your life?
Yes, life. I mean, like the other day, I had this life-changing opportunity that my whole body and system was stressed about it, and I felt like my inner child was like, "Ah, this new thing, and it's fantastic," but there's so much fear. So then I did tapping on myself and like, yeah, this is, talking to myself about that it's okay to feel this fear, and also maybe it's okay to open up to this wonderful thing, and all the things that are scary about it. Maybe it's not all true what you think about it, and all this. So I was tapping, and then after that, I felt, wow, yeah, I'm really open for this opportunity now. And then I went lying down and did some TRE to shake my body just to feel even more just released. And that was, I love my tools, and I use them all the time whenever I feel I need them. So, and I was just tapping a little bit just before this talk also, just daily, just a little, this feels, I feel safe inside being here with you and with whoever is listening.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, fantastic. Because I so agree, and it's kind of that it really helps. I feel the tools I have also, it brings me to alignment, to the truth over and over again, because exactly as you say, like we all are, we all are humans, and things happens, and we all have our fears, and the more we also expand ourselves, the new fear comes, or the things that have been very hidden that we have like not seen, and then we have these tools that we can lean into, and that's so wonderful.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, and that's when we really can embody our work, because we know we know what it takes, and we know how we can it's not always about getting rid of it, but to meet what comes. Yeah.
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 And we're not so strange. I mean, we are all so alike each other. Like when I have workshops and we work in group, and if somebody sits with an idea, maybe I'm worthless, for example, then I just ask, who else in this room feels like that? And it's always like half the room that feels that also. We think we're so special with our things.
Yeah.
But actually we're not, when we really make a reality check, and then we can work together. I find it so beautiful to work in groups, because there's so much support in coming through things, and if somebody comes through something and in front of the group, then somebody else is so touched by it that they also get healing from that. So that's also a part of the work I love doing.
Yeah, beautiful. And it's really like this, I remember I was many years ago, I was like, no, I don't have so much to work on, and that's such a, I wouldn't say lie, because I didn't know, but if we go, for example, to the word feeling worthless, I mean, that feels very big and heavy, and like, but it's like, no, okay, it's maybe not the whole part of us that feel worthless, but yeah, if I go into expanding myself in bringing in more money, if I really go deep into that, I can maybe find that one part of me doesn't feel, worthy to actually receive all this money if I really dig into it. And then when I see that, then I can actually meet that and, you know, shine the light on it. So it's so beautiful, as you describe here also when we work in a group with other people, because then we started to see ourselves in each other. Yeah.
And as you say this, that we have different parts of us, like there's always this adult parts there, but there's always also the different parts of us, like when we were children and that didn't have our needs met. So that part of us didn't have the chance to grow up. So those parts are still there somewhere. And when we can embrace them and give them that love that we didn't receive as children, and we can be the adult for our own inner child, then that part of us can expand and also feel peace about going forward. Like in the business, it can be so challenging, and for this little inner child of us, it can be so scary. It starts to sabotage things, and we don't know that we have different parts. We just suddenly start sabotage things when we're going forward, when big changes are happening. But we can, if we can find that part that is actually doing the sabotage, then it's actually logical that it's sabotaging, because it's so scared. So when we find that and then can embrace it, then that part also can go forward with us. Because if this part always is scared and not happy, how can I be totally happy? There's always one part of me that is not. So to really enjoy also going forward with all the changes in expanding a business, it's good to take care of those little parts, and so the whole of you can really enjoy the expansion and be there. So you can be fully present and not just the adult part and being sort of mental about things. But you can feel safe inside. Also, that part can be safe going forward.
Yeah.
It's also something I work with, just teaching how to take care of the inner child and children, or, you know, those parts.
Yeah, so true. And that also comes up in the work I do. It's yeah, and I call them the immature protectors, because they are this, you know, we at some stage we protected ourselves, and then we stopped there. And this part of ourself thinks still that we have to be protected. So that's why I call them the immature, because they haven't matured yet. But we can help them, these immature protectors, and say, hi, thank you for trying to protecting me. But yeah, you know, I don't really need that kind of protection. It's nice that you do your best. But let's see, and exactly as you say here, let's see, we can do it this way, or we can think about it this way. We can see these opportunities. So it's
beautiful, because this is also, it's very similar to what I do also, like not having the inner 7-year-old decide your whole life. You know, if you decided as a 7-year-old that I'm not good at this or whatever, or because there was an adult having a bad day and telling you that, and to survive you had to sort of think that was true, but it's not true.
Exactly.
And we can realize that and change it.
Exactly. I talk also about this to find the untruth, like that things that are actually not true, and to change that, and what is true instead. So it's so beautiful. It's like I feel so much in this field, alternative, like entrepreneurs and therapists as us. We work so, you know, it's the same core. It's coming back to the same core, and then we just have our unique angle on it, and we also have our unique personality in this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also something I would like to discuss with you, you know, because when we talked earlier, you mentioned this, that we have our own frequency as entrepreneurs. And would you like to explain a little bit what you mean with that?
No, I think we all send out a frequency, like like some people think that my work is exactly the same as somebody else because we have the same method, for example. But the thing is that you have a unique frequency because of whatever all the things that you have gone through in your life, interwoven with your what do you say, like your soul, maybe you can call it. So the light that comes out from you is distinguished from somebody else's. So even if you have the same kind of work, you will do it from a different angle and with a different frequency. So the people that comes to you, you can just trust that they are attracted to your frequency. And they need you, whatever method you use. They need you. Otherwise, they wouldn't come to you. Then they would choose the other person because that's what they are attracted to. And you can feel it yourself. Who are you attracted to go to when you need support? And why? So like for me, for example, I had a lot of trauma in my own life. And that is probably why many people that have worked a lot with themselves, but didn't come through, like some core traumas, they often come to me because they feel like on some level, even if they don't know anything about my story, on some level they feel that I know something, or they can trust in me because of the level of what I have been through myself. So I think it's like we need each other.
Yeah.
We just feel attracted to whoever we need. That's how we decide.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why it's so important to dare to really, as an entrepreneur, to really try to show ourselves, like to really dare to stand out and do it in our way, so to say, that what feels true for us. So okay, I see someone doing something there and that person becomes really successful, but no, this feels more true to me to do it in this way, and to show myself in this way, because that will then really radiate my uniqueness, and I will feel very right in what I'm doing. And then of course that can change how I want to you know, express myself, so to say, in my, as an entrepreneur and so on. But to really, as you say here, really trust that we all hold a special, unique frequency that will attract a certain people within us. And what I have found also, it's and I think many have also seen this, that sometimes we might want to start to attract other kind of people. And then we can like start to think, okay, what do I need to maybe up level or change or within myself or put out? Have you experienced that yourself?
Yeah, I think I have. But at least I always feel like I want to upgrade myself in different ways.
Yeah.
So I feel one of the excitements about life is to always learn and to always develop.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a daily practice for me, to always develop myself, and also to try being more and more here, to be more and more incarnated, more present. That's also a beautiful daily practice, and especially when you work with people, because like for me, because of what happened in my life and the traumas I had, I have a bit of a scattered memory. So when I'm gonna talk in front of a group about certain things, explain things from the mental level, it's not always easy. Maybe I cannot answer all the questions, and sometimes I can even know that this I could have answered yesterday, but today I don't have access to that part of my memory. But again, the more present I am, and the more I enjoy being here in the moment and seeing the person asking that question and taking them in, the more I feel happy and free, and I don't feel shame about not remembering, and the person who asked the question will also not be blaming or anything. They just accept, like, oh, this is how, because I don't have a problem with not remembering. Before I had, I felt it was a big, I felt shame about it. Now I'm more in the flow of the now, and I meet what comes up, and many times the answer just comes. I don't know from where, but yeah. I think to enjoy the moment and be as present as possible, that's sort of really good entrepreneurial
Skill.
something to live up to more and more.
Yeah, it is. And when you speak, it's, yeah, I can really recognize this, you know. So when I started out as a coach, you know, I've kind of followed the book and follow all the rules. Or how to say, advice, which I still do, but I was so scared to do something wrong and saying, you know, lead in the wrong way. But what I have come to see is exactly this, what you explain now, that it's all about to, if you are totally present there with that person, then things will flow. Like it's you get this access to your intuition, or, you know, to your heart, where things just come through you on a, you don't know where it come from, as you said. And yeah, that's the most amazing thing to feel. And I heard that from, I think it was my first coaching teacher, that he said, okay, now you learn everything here, but, you know, then you can then you can, he didn't say then you forget about it, but, you know, then you kind of, when you have practiced it, then you can start to flow with it. So that's what I hearing that you also say, that it doesn't matter if you don't remember. It doesn't matter if you maybe say something that wasn't perfect, because what's matter is that you are there with that person or that group, and really can feel them. It's on a totally different level, like the energetic level, where we meet from the heart instead of just the head. Because it feels from the head, there is a limitation there. But from the heart and from the, that frequency, that's limitless. And things, we will start to understand things that we, on a totally different level, like on a body level. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. And that's also, I feel like, now I haven't hold physical group for a long time. So I guess if I would do it now, I would feel a bit nervous. And I have in the past felt nearly that I'm not in my body even. I'm just like so. So I think that's a really good reminder to just like try to anchor in our body, because that's when we become more present here and now, right?
Yeah. And also about that, to challenge yourself to do things that are scary. I think it's a good idea to do it in small steps, sort of, to because as you said, like you did things and you were not really in the body even, and when you're not really in the body, you don't enjoy the moment as much, and maybe you are not as present as you could be. So I mean, it's a good idea to have to balance the challenge. So if you feel that you are so challenged that you cannot even really be there, then maybe you need to take care a little bit about that part that is so scared, and then you come back, and then you can be a bit more there. And sometimes things have happened in our lives that we don't even remember, that was so challenging, and that have maybe they remind about this new thing, about standing there in front of all these people. So sometimes if it feels really challenging, it's really good to ask for help, to have support, to have somebody holding your hand when you go through that past memory. So when you have done that, then you can be more present in the now. So just a little bit of awareness of how much you push yourself. Because it's not always an advantage also for the people that you meet, that you push yourself so much.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't actually attract that many people also, if you're not really present there. So
exactly.
How can we bring all the parts of us with us to the moment and really enjoy being there?
Yeah. And that's what I think. It's also if I'm thinking about when that have happened for me, when I felt I haven't been there, I have not really done the work beforehand. I have been maybe when I wasn't also having all the tools, that I have today. So there, I think it's like, if we come back to the thing that we talked about earlier, to really take care of that, scared inner child within us. And do that, maybe tapping beforehand or whatever tool we have to actually remember, because sometimes we actually can forget that we have all these tools. So to actually give that to ourselves and to say that it's okay.
And also, I also want to say that I've been there totally, not only you.
Yeah.
So I also been doing groups and been so totally scared and didn't have the tools. So I mean that it's easier to sit from having worked with groups and people for more than 20 years, it's more easy to sit and say how it can be now. But also be really kind to yourself every step you take forward, everything you have the courage to do. Just be so kind to yourself. You are doing so wonderful. And also, Patricia, I seen you, how you have expanded and just walked forward and just gone for what you want to do and what you love is so beautiful. So yeah, I think just we should be really kind to ourselves, that every little step is really good.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful that you bring that up, because I actually have a habit. I do this nearly every day. I often go for a walk in the afternoon or evening, and then I have this pep talk with myself. It's like that I'm talking to this, maybe that child in me, or maybe just that pusher within on me that is like, no, you haven't done enough today. And, and because we can really, I think many of us can feel that there is this long to-do list, and oh my God, I didn't get through it all. And but then I have this discussion with myself, and I tell myself, like, you did this and you did this. And not only what I did, but also how I showed up, like in the way I showed up, or what I gave to myself, what love I gave to myself, or but only maybe nourishment, like good food or whatever. There's always things that we can find that we can see that this was actually something I did really good to myself. And when we bring that to ourselves and really feed ourselves and see this appreciation that we have for ourselves, then we will just start to like feel more relaxed, more worthy, and more expanded within ourselves. So it's so important, I think, so if we have had a group, I come back to that, and we felt, oh my God, it went so not good, and I said that, I should have said that, and I was so nervous, or I wasn't in my body, and it's like, okay, great. Okay, I get that feedback, but come on, like, what did I really do? Oh my God, I just show up. I did this. I really wanted this, and I did it even if I was scared.
Yes.
And yes, and all this, like every little thing, to really see and acknowledge that within ourselves, as we were our best friend, or we should be. I shouldn't say as we were, like, I mean, we should really be our best friend, that just give the best cred to ourselves.
That's so beautiful. And also it's good to make a reality check, because maybe you think that you did not so well, but what did everyone in the group experience?
Yeah.
So if there's somebody in the group that you feel some trust in, you can just call them and ask, how did you feel about this group? And they probably didn't have so much focus on what exactly you did, but what their own experience was from it. And that is what they take with them. And so maybe you contributed loads without knowing it, and you even talk bad to yourself afterwards for a while, because we have been used to listen to criticism in the past. And if we get criticized by one person and get positive feedback from 9 people, we still just hang on to the criticism, because the mind works like that. It wants to, that's what I need to change, and that is something to fix. Mind also always wants to fix something. So we hold on to that. But so much good things you did, and also, like you said, just to give positive feedback to yourself, and also to the part that was really scared and did it anyway. That's
Exactly.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and this brings also like this to, I know that we have discussed that, sometimes we take ourselves too serious. And you have talked about this, like, how can we have more fun? How can we bring in more fun in our journey, in like entrepreneurial journey? Like, what are you doing for bringing in more joy and fun in your work?
Well, as I said about being present, that for me brings more joy, and to really see the people in the room. And when I do tapping in a group, I usually put in some jokes in the middle of it, because also when you start laughing, then it actually happens things inside, and the really deep problems that we are working with gets a chance to, the brain starts to, oh, it's really difficult and it's a bit funny, and you can sort of work through things with using the humor. So I do that in the tapping, but also something I like to do is to put in some dancing in, like when I have family constellation, for example, can be really deep, and yeah, it's a very deep healing work, and it can be a bit funny sometimes also, actually. Sometimes we do have a big laugh there also. But to break it up a little, I usually have some dancing after a constellation, so we can move the body and just come back to ourselves and give some integration time before we continue the work. So
Yeah.
I love using humor to have, because also I work with really deep, difficult things. So we need to balance that a bit when it's possible. Not in the, maybe not in the deepest process, but after a while, and when, that's also how you do the tapping. You can, how do you say it? You go from the one extreme to another. So just make the mind sort of shift focus a bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. So my partner, he have done many years ago, he did something called Landmark. That's like, and he said that it was one of, in the end, I think, and some of the people were still really stuck in their trauma. And there was kind of this exercise where they're just gonna, share it with someone else. And they were like, there was this really stuckness. And then the leader put on this really funny song, like really like, quirky song, like, kind of nearly a child song. And it just brought it to a totally different level that is like, not to diminish, but to kind of, exactly as you're explaining here, that it happens something with the brain.
And the surprise of it, that something that like that, a funny song would just come in the middle of the serious moment. That really, like, the brain, like, what? So it sort of has to sort of, yeah.
Exactly. It has to, it's happened a shift there, if you're not like totally, but he said it totally broke out and people started to laugh, and there was like this really breakthrough moment for so many, because it's something that we come back to the present, I guess, also, that we can see that we are not that person anymore, and we can see that we don't need to hold on to that. Life can also be so much of joy, and it's easy to sit and say that, but that creates kind of a neurological experience of that when we bring in, I think, as you are really good at doing, bringing in humor, that it takes us back to that now, to the present.
Yeah, and also if we are in like a challenging memory, working with a challenging memory, then I can also just say, and I sit here in the room, and just and then I ask the client maybe to look around in the room. Okay, I sit here in my home, and I can feel really safe in my home. I decide over my home. And I at the same time can have this memory that is horrible. So that I can sort of bring this moment, the safety of this moment into the memory, and move back and forth. Tis the memory is more easier to be with, and it's not so challenging. Because also to remind that it actually is not now.
Yeah,
I still feel affected by the memory, but it's not and some part of me have not realized that this is over. One part of me still thinks that this memory is happening now. So bringing back to the moment, okay, and I feel I can sit here in the room and I feel okay here, and still can have the memory at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, beautiful. So I would like to we soon gonna wrap up, but I was just curious also, in your own life. Now we have talked about, the work with the clients, but I can feel, so I want to ask you also that in my own life, when I'm in doing my daily task for my work, and I can, not that I'm into trauma, but I can get so serious and like tense, and and like, ooh. And then I'm like, then I remember, I need to bring in the joy, I need to bring in the pleasure, and then I do that. So for me, I do that. Sometimes I put on music and I dance. Or today we live in a beautiful place right now where we have our own pool, and I was like, wow, I'm gonna just take a little dip in the pool. It's all there. It's not like just for the weekend or after work or whatever. I can actually do it now. Or doing those. I also had like a little singing thing happen today as well. I was like sat down and I sang the song, and so I feel that is so important for me to really come from the right place, and as we were talking about the frequency that we hold, that it comes from a place of pleasure and a place of joy, because it's so easy to get stuck in the struggle and the take problem or whatever. It's like what are your view of this? What are
Well, there's so many good things you already described, but one thing that I can do is to take an etheric oil and smell and rub it in to my body, and something shifts for me. I feel very affected by smells, and I love the smell of roses. That's sort of my favorite one, that I feel also it opens my heart really, and it takes me to a very high frequency where I love to come from. So also in the mornings I usually read something that inspires me. So every day I have something spiritual that that I feel I can grow with. And now I have a book about the Mary Magdalene manuscript, and I love reading that kind of literature that takes me to the Mary Magdalene Christ consciousness, sort of that level of frequency where I also feel the rose frequency is. So, and that is also reminds me about something in me, my own frequency. Also colors can remind me about my frequency and how to come back. And also when you talk about the fun things, sometimes I do dress up and make some, put on a wig and change my voice and do a little thing just to be a creative and have really fun and yeah.
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 Yeah,
I
that's
love doing that as a child, so that's why I took it up as an adult also to do that kind of stuff, to use humor.
And that's so beautiful, because that's actually how we met, because we both are into that. And we met in a kind of a theater, or you were setting up and I came out as a helper there, and we have had so much fun, because we have cooperate during Emma, you're holding space for a festival called Space of Love, for example. You hold the space there, you coordinate it. I was thinking you're doing other things also, but that's the only festival. But then you are also teacher on festivals as well.
And I'm actually supporting on the Mundekulla festival also. So the last years. So, but just like a support team for it. So, but yes, and we dressed up so many times together, you and me, and made this funny place for not only children, adults also love it.
Yeah, I think sometimes the adults loved it even more. Yeah, exactly. So it's so much, I think, the importance about daring to be playful. I mean, we're not sitting and say that everyone should dress up, but it's a bit about bringing in the joy, whatever joy is for you, whatever pleasure is for you, and playfulness that can, to do a little silly dance or whatever that can maybe break. If you feel you are into too seriousness or into too much worry, as I mentioned before, this with and you mentioned, like, to break that, we can do that for ourselves, to break that stuckness and just shift our brain that it have to shift into.
And something you loved when you were a child, maybe then maybe some part of you still would really love to do it, and also not to be so I mean, how do you say that, to not show yourself in an unserious way. That could be scary for some people, but it's also, if you show yourself as a ridiculous or dressing up and things, people actually love that so much that it's not doesn't make you less person or anything. It's more like people can relax around you.
It brings some kind of more humanness, because I think we all deep inside we have our playful child, and that resonates with that part. And then of course we like different kind of humor and playfulness, but to not be scared to bring out that part within ourselves, the quirkiness, and because that's really, again, it really tells us and shows us more about the frequency we are in, and we drop into that frequency by just doing that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Okay, but I think that's like so beautiful to end with. I'm just thinking that if people get curious about you, where can they find you and what are you up to? Do you have something for the summer? Like, I don't know when people listen to this podcast, but now we're talking summer 2023. And yeah, and where can they find you right now?
So my web page is, well, it's in Swedish, inrefrihet.se. So inner freedom is like the name of my work, and I will be at Space of Love Festival in the beginning of June in Öland, and then in August there's the Mundekulla Festival that has 25 years of celebration. It's the 25th festival, so that will be really fun also.
Beautiful.
And I will share my work there, and also I give sessions on Zoom, tapping sessions on Zoom, so it's very easy wherever you are if you want to connect and check out if you like the way I work.
Beautiful. And sometimes you give family constellation work as well, right?
Yes, usually I live in Helsingborg, so it's easiest if you come here for me at least, or invite me.
Beautiful. And for the people that don't know about family constellation, I mean, really check that out, because I found it's amazing things to break things that we have inherited from our lineage so much, that, you know, untruth, if we talk about that, beliefs that we just inherit, or, you know, we are stuck for some reason we don't know. And yeah, it's such an amazing work that really goes on the not only the mental, but really on a totally different level as well.
Yeah, it's like if you don't find healing in any kind of therapy, maybe it's because it's not in you, it's in your family system. And that is why it's good to have your family constellation put up to look at it at that level, how you're connected to your family system. So, but that's it's such a beautiful work. So it's good to just come and experience it.
Yeah, I'm warmly recommend you that listen, if you are in Sweden, to take part of Emma's work in that. I have been in her workshop and it's amazing. Okay, I think that was all. We could continue to talk forever, but yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Beautiful to talk to you.
Yeah, beautiful to have you here and bringing your light and frequency and inspire all the people you meet. That's wonderful to just see you shine and grow and have you as a friend and see what you do in the world.
Same. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just loved this discussion I had with Emma, and it is something to have people around you that really can support you, that really can vibe and understand you. And that's why I love to create communities. That's why I love to create this situation where people come together. So really check out what I'm offering, because I have always new offerings. So just check out my webpage that right now is lifeleaders.world. You can check it out here in the links below, and I hope to hear and see what you felt about this episode. I would be so happy if you send me a little message, or gave a revenue or something. So thank you for listening in. I'm so appreciate you and all that you are, because I know that you have something special that you want to share with this world, and that you also probably are on a mission doing it. So lots of love, and thanks for just being you.